Hi.
Hello out there and welcome. My name is Sharon Frosch and I am the Chief Operating Officer of the Discover Your Path U platform, where we believe that every life can teach and everyone can grow. To that end, I am also the host of this show, The Connection Sessions, where we bring together practitioners, marketers, entrepreneurs, artists, mentors, and students in an effort to connect to community, learn from each other, and grow. Today, I'm really excited. I have a functional medicine health coach with me named Gayle Arnold, who's here to talk to us about what functional medicine is and how it can help you in not only your everyday life, but also your professional life as a compassionate care professional. So Gayle, thank you so much for being with me here today. And I'm hoping that you might be willing to just share with our audience a little bit about how you came to health coaching and what functional medicine is.
Okay. Thank you for having me, Sharon,
My
and thank you,
pleasure.
Roku, for tagging me on this and passing it on to me. So functional medicine is all about getting to root causes of dis-ease in the body. And functional medicine sees every person as a unique person and a unique set of conversations the body is having.
Wow.
So the way I came into this, I've always been really interested in upregulating my body and being healthy and what it takes to be healthy. And I've always been into exercise and fitness because it makes me feel good, and I like feeling good. And back in 1993, I was going through a bad divorce, and I was super depressed and sad and everything. And after going through that process, I'd always had issues with not having enough energy. My stomach was always upset. So I went to the doctor in 95 and he diagnosed me with hypothyroid. And at the same time, I was, all my friends, I was exercising. I loved to exercise, made me feel good. And every woman that I knew in my exercise class was taking Synthroid, but nobody knew why. Nobody knew what it was supposed to do. Nobody knew why it was connected to the thyroid, why the thyroid wasn't working. And then when I got diagnosed and I was going to the doctor, he put me on Synthroid and he gave me a huge dose and I became hyperthyroid. And then 3 weeks later, when he checked my blood again, he changed the dose and then I got a hypo again. And it was like, I think that happened like 3 or 4 times. And I thought, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. So I decided to go to an endocrinologist, and he kind of leveled out my medication. But then I had a job change and I moved from this area, and when I moved, I was to Alabama. And when I moved down there, I started speaking with this compounding pharmacist, and he started telling me about the thyroid and how it works and what Synthroid was and what might be happening to my thyroid. And it was like, just from there, I just started delving deeper and deeper into hormones. And so while I was down there, the job I had was, I didn't fit in that job, and it was super stressful. And I got laid off after I'd been there for 3 years, and I came back up here. But in the meantime, I got certified as a health coach. I had IIN, and I came back up here, got another job doing the same thing in graphic design, working for a contractor. And it was a much smaller office, and I didn't do a lot during the day. There wasn't much to do, but I was making a lot of money, so I would get on the internet, and I was on this Rick Steves website. Do you know who Rick Steves is?
Nope.
He's a budget travel guy, and he writes these travel books, and I love travel. So I entered a contest, and I won a trip to Paris from that. So the week that I received the notice that I won that, it was like, okay, the universe is talking to me. It's time for me to change. So I was already certified as a health coach. So I just jumped and started my business in January of 2011. But I found that the people that I was meeting and talking to about their health and eating better and, you know, all those types of things, they had much more going on in their bodies than just eat this, not that, you know. And I just felt like the toolbox that I had was really small. So I started following this woman, Tracy Harrison, of the School of Applied Functional Medicine. And it was like, next time I have a bunch of money, I'm joining that school. So I've been with the School of Applied Functional Medicine for 3 years now. And I just feel like um, this approach is much more authentic and holistic, and will get much better results than just taking a bunch of medications that nobody knows why they're taking.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
It's interesting that Hippocrates, the author of the Hippocratic Oath, which most doctors take prior to beginning to practice medicine, was the man who said that let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. And yet today's doctors don't know how to treat anything with nutrition.
right.
That's frightening to me personally.
Yeah.
I don't know about you.
Well, it's like uh, it's like for your car, the gas, the oil, the transmission fluid, the water, all that stuff, it won't run if it doesn't have that. And that's what our food is. You know, it's the transmission fluid, the oil, the gas, and that our body needs to run. You know, and if we don't have this body is not properly supported with those things, then the life that we're not living a life, you know, we're just living pain.
Yeah,
You know?
that's so true. I love watching your posts because we're obviously friends on Facebook. And I see your posts about all of the, I think it's called elevated yoga, the yoga
Oh yeah,
that's done in the harness.
yeah.
And I just love watching your posts. And I'm curious for those viewers who are watching, I heard you say repeatedly that you love exercise, and a lot of us in the United States of America do exercise because we have to, but it's begrudgingly so. It's not like, yay, I get to exercise. So how does functional medicine and beginning to understand that health is a conversation between the different systems in your body, how does that help you come to have a new relationship with exercise?
Well, for me, exercise is like a stress release.
Mm,
And when I don't move my body, I get tight, you know,
yeah.
things hurt. I don't sleep very well. And I love being outside. I love having fresh air and
Mhm.
appreciating all the beauty, you know,
Yeah.
and, that translates into feeling good in your body, you know. And I do think, uh, as we move through life and we add on those years, the body tends to get tighter,
Yeah.
and if we don't continue to have movement with the body, then it's just going to be more pain and more pain. And I think we can adjust. We maybe can't do the same things that we did when we were 20, but there are other things that we can move the body still as we age,
Yeah.
you know, and you're just happier. You're just happier, I
I
think,
agree.
movement. And I also think for me, I was doing. I love yoga. That's my
Me
thing.
too.
Totally love yoga, and I like the whole experience, the
Mhm.
spirituality, all of that. Um, and I also like going to a yoga studio, but I haven't been able to go to a studio in a while. And I started doing other things like body pump and spin. I do like spin, but my body was still. My hips were tight,
Yeah.
um, you know, everything. So I got into found another yoga place, that Elevate one, and she also does yoga there. And then I've been doing power yoga at some other places, and it's like that is my thing because it's everything: breath,
Yeah.
um, flexibility, the relaxation, um, a little bit of spirituality where I'm going. But I'll eventually move to another place that has the whole, the whole experience, so.
It's really interesting when we locate that thing, that that our body really loves. And that in and of itself is a conversation that our body's having with us, correct?
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it the appropriate exercise for each person, because we, in our American way, is to go all the way in anything,
Yes.
never be moderate, So, and we have this idea that you're absolutely healthy if you're running 25 miles every day. If
Right.
you are, just because you're doing that, that means you're healthy, or you're going to the gym, spending 2 hours there, but of course you're exhausted the rest of the day, So, there, whatever's appropriate for that particular body, can support the wellness. But I think for me, I go to yoga about 4 times a week,
Mhm.
and I have to go outside every single morning. Um, in the winter, I do hibernate, though. I'm not a big fan of winter,
Me either.
so I like the summer. But I like feeling good, and I like doing the things that make me feel good, that help me feel good.
Yeah, and I think it's that whole thing that where Americans, you're right, we're the big country, we're the country go big or go home, no pain, no gain. And so we do these exercises that honestly, the average person is not equipped to do CrossFit. That is just too much for the untrained body. And we go out and we try something like CrossFit or, hot power yoga, and it's our first time trying it. And then we pull something that we suffer from for the next 6 months, and we're like, well, exercise isn't for me. It's not that exercise isn't for you. It's that taking things in smaller, manageable, confidence building chunks is where it's at. How do you help a client identify that trying to do everything on your first try is only going to end up making you feel completely depleted and depressed?
Well, I think first I need to understand what their motivation is.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have this huge, another thing that bothers me is that it's always about weight. It's always about weight.
Yes.
And it's like, weight, that is a symptom. That's not
Yeah.
where your uh the focus should be, or not should, where the focus will have the most results.
I love that.
So you know I we have to move, so let's find something that you will help you continue to be in movement. And then later on, if you want to get into power hot yoga, which I do like hot yoga, um, then try that and give it a try, but don't just discount it because it is hard the first time. It is
Oh,
hard.
yeah.
um, so uh, first, let's hear what the expectations are. What do you expect? you know um, uh, are you, and it's a practice. That's why it's called yoga practice. Your
Yeah.
practice, it's not going to be perfect. And so and other things come into play. Um, what disruptions are they dealing with? Do they have an imbalance in cortisol? Is their thyroid? Do they have a low thyroid function? Um, and that there's there's an appropriate exercise for those particular imbalances.
Yeah.
So if you are have just got over doing a however many months of chemotherapy, and
Yeah.
you gain some weight from steroids and all that stuff, and you decide you're going to start doing spin 4 days a week and doing body pump every other day or every day, right after the spin, that's not appropriate for your body, because it will just cause something else. And even though, I mean, I could just say that across the board, because someone that's been in chemotherapy has had lots of disruption in the body. So,
Yeah.
so whatever's appropriate for that unique person.
Absolutely. And I think we as a country kind of tend to treat fitness the same way we treat fashion. Whatever everybody else is doing, whatever everybody else is saying is awesome, well, we're going to go and we're going to do that so that we can be accepted and we can be in that in crowd, not understanding that your body may not be the same type as theirs. And I think one of the hardest things for me to watch is somebody who's naturally prone to put on or to hold weight, beating the crap out of themselves because they don't have a body like a waif model. And it's just this thing of owning who you are, owning where you're
Right.
at, owning your body type, and not trying to be someone that you're not, because then you don't demoralize yourself by constantly failing. You don't damage your body with this attempt to make it what it's not. And you don't develop this sense of not being able to ever accomplish anything.
hmm Well, I think the thing, I always shy away from fad things.
Yeah.
Um, I think because we're essentially pack animals, we like being with other humans, and
Yeah.
that camaraderie we get with other people doing the same things, that feels good. Um, and it also, I think, is about, I don't have to think about it. Somebody's gone through the whole process for me. All I have to do is follow these steps.
Yeah.
Which is part of the reason why we are where we are right now, is because we
Indeed.
have given up the idea of taking charge of our unique body.
Yeah.
Um, so following a fad, a fad diet, a fad exercise routine, just because if we were to dig down deeper, because somebody else is doing it, and I want to be like that person, and we're so heavily marketed to those subliminal messages that we get about, don't you want to be this person? Look how sexy that person is.
Yeah.
Look how skinny she is. Look at that attractive guy that is looking at her. And we absorb all of that, and then you
Yeah.
start thinking, maybe I do need to buy that. Maybe that'll fix whatever it is.
It's really brilliant, the marketing that's used on us, because it kind of, just light and sound in and of itself are hypnotic tools. And then we sit in front of this box that emits light and sound to us, and we kind of get put in this space where we're not really cognizant of where we're at or what we're doing. We've put all of our attention into a single point, which is this box, which is literally the basis for hypnosis.
Mm-hmm.
And then we end up being fed all of these subliminal messages, like you were saying, and we find ourselves wanting and needing stuff we don't need. And I think that a lot of that comes into play where now we have a show called Hoarders, because we honestly are convinced that we need all this stuff, and then we get it and we use it once, and it's like, why the hell did I buy this? But we can't bring ourselves to send it back, because then that would be admitting failure. But the very fact that we have a house full of things that haven't worked is the failure that we live in every day. And it starts this downward spiral into, well, I just can't change. Let's go to McDonald's.
Oh yeah, self-medicating. Well, I think thing. I think now one of my big focuses is to help people get more conscious.
Yeah.
Be conscious of these choices that you're making, because we have the opportunity to be uh, um, unconscious,
Yeah.
with um, uh, computers and cell phones and every
Absolutely.
electronic device that we have to have, and that we have turned off our conscious awareness.
Yes, we have.
So now I think we will have to, maybe there's a little spark in people, and ignite that spark and help it grow, so that they realize, I have to become more conscious.
Yeah.
Of course, that is, getting really clear what you really want, and what you're willing to do, and how important it is to you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
It's I just think I think there has to be a drastic change, or we're going to wind up being extinct, if
Absolutely.
we don't make a lot of conscious changes.
And I would imagine that somebody who works in the health field, and we have with us our Chief Financial Officer, Sarah Whalen, who's an integrative nutrition coach. One of the most difficult things, I would think, is taking somebody who, like we've just talked about, buys thing after thing after thing in a hypnotic trance while watching TV, and none of it works, and has basically convinced themselves that they can't change. I would imagine that that is so hard for a health coach to sit across from that person and find any room in their language and their belief systems and their thoughts and ideas that no, you've just been going about it wrong. There is room for you to change. There is the possibility for you to become healthier, but it's not going to be in the way that you've been taught.
Right, right. And, a lot of it, those limiting beliefs, and a lot
Oh,
of it is, uh, the people that we seek to be the leaders,
yeah.
or the ones that we seek to
Our
give us
gurus.
the answers, the gurus, which so many people, this is still turned to the conventional medical system. And, many times they're told, I don't know, and that's just the way it is, so it's like when you turn to someone that you think is an authority and they tell you, I can't do anything about it, or that's just the way it is, then it's like, you feel like there's no recourse,
Yeah.
to do anything to make a change. Um, I, I, women in particular, because
Very
of our
much so.
whole, the way we're socialized, and even though we've gone through all these big changes and everything, we still have a lot of things that I think are ingrained in us, that
Absolutely.
that um, not disrupting things, being way too nice,
Yeah.
sometimes when really you want to say something else, um, and just standing firm on our ability to take charge of our health, to understand what's going on with our health, and actually
Yeah.
demand from healthcare providers the answers that we seek.
Yep.
And I had one woman I talked to, and she was she she had been told she was hypothyroid. She was afraid to take medications, and I said, well, the labs that she showed me, she just had a couple of labs, and I suggested that she gets these other ones, and she said, "Oh, I'm afraid to go ask the doctor. I'm afraid she'll get mad at me." And it was like, "That's your doctor? If they get mad at you, then you need another doctor." So I mean, they're your provider, just like if you would have something wrong with your car, you would take your car in, and if they didn't do what they were supposed to be doing, you would say, and you're not getting paid, or I'm going to somewhere else. So I just think um, we need to say that we can do that, be in charge of our questions, be in charge our of the knowledge that we can get,
Yeah.
so that's a big thing that I talk about with everybody that I work with. Ask questions. If you don't get the answers you're looking for, then move on. Go to.
Absolutely. Empowerment is such a powerful thing, especially with our health, because we've kind of been degraded, in my mind, of what I see happening in the United States of America is that we've kind of been downgraded into these small little people who look to doctors to medicate us, and the food industry to feed us, and the entertainment industry to entertain us. And gone are the days, like in my childhood, I don't know about yours, where we didn't get TV all day. We literally got sent outside to play with sticks and rocks and go down to
Yes,
the creek.
yes.
And, so we were in nature all the time. We were responsible for our own creativity. We were responsible for our own games. We were responsible for our own entertainment. Our food wasn't nearly as processed as it is now. So when I grew up, my mom made her own peanut butter. She made her own maple syrup. She made her own bread. I was raised by an RN who was extremely health conscious after reading a study on cancer and meat and animal products. And I don't have the same relationship with grocery stores and food that a lot of people my age and especially younger do, in that, well, this is all that's available. Like it's not beyond me at all to go out and build a greenhouse out of a carport frame and grow my
Yeah.
own food. And I think that sense of empowerment that you're talking about is really what's missing in our health.
Mhm. Well, again, if you look around, everything is about, let's make this easy.
Yeah.
And because this organic nature of our body gets hungry, and eventually you feel those hunger pains. So you see something that says, get this quick, stop here, get this real fast. And, and it might get rid of your hunger. You eat it, but what else have you done to your body? You're not, um, So supporting that ability to not think about your body, not think about what you're putting into your body, the importance of digestion and
Yeah.
keeping things calm when you're eating, things like that. Not sitting in the car, sitting in traffic, and so it's kind of like we built this nation to um, disregard those primal things about us.
Absolutely.
The food that our body needs, not the processed stuff. Our body does not need that. The toxins from medications, we just haven't evolved to that. And then the actual lifestyle, when I was working in the corporate world, guys would get rewarded with big bonuses for spending 80 hours a week at the office. Their marriages were falling apart. They didn't see their kids and all that stuff, but they got these big bonuses because they work so many hours. So that's what this country supports, things like that. So
Yeah. It is truly depressing. We are at the end of our half hour. Believe it or not, it always goes by so fast. I want to take a moment to recognize some of our viewers, to Karen, Sarah, and Sammy D, who's our Chief Technology Officer. Thank you for joining us, guys. If you do find this video after we're no longer live, drop us a hashtag replay and let us know that you were here. And more importantly, if you heard something in today's interview that really sparked your interest, if you're interested in learning how to get in on this conversation that your body and your health is having with you, that you may largely be ignoring due to societal trends in processed foods, fast foods, exercise plans that aren't tailored to the individual body, if you're interested in getting beyond all that and finding out where your health is, where your comfortable level is, where you are going to thrive nutritionally as well as with your exercise, all of Gayle's contact information is actually available in this Facebook Live. Her website, her Facebook page, her personal profile. Get a hold of her, connect with her, find out how she can help you connect with your body. So thank you, guys. Thank you, Gayle, for being with me today. I truly enjoyed this. And as always, guys, I love you, and we'll see you here tomorrow. Same place, same time. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.